All right, Marlon, I got it. I got it together. I got it together, Marlon. Okay, so you guys couldn't hear anything I said. I'm assuming you guys couldn't hear anything I said. Let me just double check. Let me just double check. I did not join. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Y'all couldn't hear anything I said. I saw Marlon trying to get in, and that's how I knew I messed up. So let me start over. Thank you guys for joining Monday Morning Quarterbacks, Pastor Barry. And man, I was already into my bag. And so we're going to start this again. Monday Morning Quarterback is where we review Sunday morning service from a Monday morning perspective, with me having the opportunity to sleep on it and reflect. And so yesterday we had a great worship service again. And I preached on piggybacking from last week's sermon, Goliath Must Fall. Yesterday's sermon was entitled Permission Denied, Inadequacy Must Fall. And it was dealing with the giant of inadequacy, something that I've dealing with in my personal life. Sometimes not always feeling that I was prepared for spaces that I would enter, not preparing for, I don't know, schools that I attended, even preparing for ministry, pastoring, preaching in some spaces. I've always had to battle with this giant in my life called inadequacy, not feeling that I was prepared enough, not feeling I was smart enough, not feeling I was ready. And I'll never forget when Bishop Bryan appointed me to Willis Chapel. I remember talking to my pastor, Pastor C. Dennis Williams, and I told him that I didn't think I was ready. And so he had a few words to share with me, and the rest is history. But inadequacy is something that that freezes us, that paralyzes us, because we want to be ready for everything that we go in. But in the final thought process that I have is that we're never ready. We're never ready for real challenges. If we are ready, then it's not challenging enough. And so inadequacy has been a giant that I have continued to have to slay and fight in my own life. And there was a quote by Eleanor Roosevelt. Let me just get it right. She said, no one can make you feel inferior without your consent. So I have to give people permission, or spaces permission, for me to feel inferior. And that's what inadequacy does. It freezes us. It makes us afraid. It makes us not want to try to move forward because of whatever reason. And so yesterday's sermon was, again, permission denied. We are denying, we are not giving permission to the giant of inadequacy to paralyze us any longer. And we're saying permission denied. I am not going to believe that I am inadequate in certain spaces. I remember I used to deal with that when I would apply for jobs when I was in corporate America, but I finally pushed past that. And I always applied for jobs I was not qualified for, because I felt that I was able to at least be taught. Maybe I wasn't qualified for it, but when I got in the space, somehow I would figure it out. And that's kind of what we have to do in life. We have to step out on faith, knowing that with God, we'll figure it out. And so I preached on Judges chapter 6, which is the story of Gideon. Gideon was just a plain guy, and was given this task to go deliver Israel from the Midianites. And Gideon had all these complaints and reasons why he didn't want to go. And it's a long story, not really that long of a story. You got to read the whole chapter of Judges chapter 6. But God called him. My 3 points were that God does not see us the way we are. God sees us according to our potential and what we might be, which is where we see, I think it's in verse 12 or 11, where Gideon is called a mighty warrior or a mighty hero in the ESV, or I think a mighty man of valor in maybe the King James version. I'm not sure. But, you know, Gideon had never did anything to have that title of being a warrior or a hero, you know, but God always sees our potential. God calls us to what we are going to be. We are continually being made, and we are continually being transformed into the image of God. So God does not see us where we are. God sees us for where we are going. You know, Jeremiah, I know the plans I have for you. Plans not to harm you or hurt you, provide you a hope in the future. So God always pushes us to our maximum potential. And so we have to be able to embrace that and say, God, I'm willing to go with you so that I can reach my maximum potential as to what you have for me in life, in the kingdom, in ministry, in my career, in my family, everything. God always calls us, pushes us to what we are becoming. And no eye has seen or ear has heard. So that even with me, where I am now, I'm still becoming, and I'm still always in awe of where God could perhaps take me. And I always try to be aware that I'm the one limiting myself, not God. God is not limiting anything about me or anything about you. It is you and I who give this mindset of inferiority permission to keep us where we are. But that's not God. God wants the best for us, and God wants for us to glorify him and make his name great and build his kingdom. So that first point was that God is always calling us to what we will be. And the second point was stop making excuses. Gideon was like, you know, look at what's going on around me. Look at if you're so great, God, why is all this happening? And we got to stop making excuses. What's going on around us still does not limit what God is pushing us and calling us to be. And matter of fact, that would even glorify God greater because of what we are going through. So do not allow what you see around you cause you to doubt what God's potential is in you. And then my third point was that it's already in you, because the angel told Gideon, go in the strength that you have. And that, to me, that's the most powerful point. Go in the strength that you have. Everything we need is already in us. It's already in you. You know, one of the things my wife, she'll always tell me when she sees me perhaps over preparing for a sermon or a lesson I'm teaching, she'll just see me preparing, studying. And she would always tell me, she says, just go, it's already in you. It's already in you. And when you get in that space, it will come out of you. And so there has to always be a preparation within us, that we're always preparing to be our best. But once we have that discipline, we have to be comfortable to occupy the spaces, knowing that it's already in us, because the angel told Gideon, go in the strength that you have. Am I not sending you? Okay. And that was the first time that out of 2 or 3 times that the angel had to remind Gideon that I'm sending you. So if I'm sending you, you don't have anything to worry about. We think sometimes that we get certain invitations and certain opportunities, it's because of us, but it's because of God. It is God who is sending you. It is God who has opened up this space for you. And when you occupy those spaces, we must remember who it is that is sending us. Okay. I gave an illustration on Coco Gauff, who won her first major tennis tournament. And she said that she never prays for outcomes, but she just prays for the strength to do her best. And that when I read that, I was like, okay, my sermon is done. Um, Always pray for the strength to do your best in the spaces you occupy, because we know that God is the one who sent us. Okay. And if I can give you just a little bonus point, something that I didn't share yesterday, but it's still kind of tied into it's already in us. Gideon still questioned God after that. In verse, 15, he says, how can I rescue Israel? My clan is the weakest in the whole tribe of Manasseh, and I am the youngest. How can I rescue us? And that's, again, the giant of inferiority paralyzing. We look at where we live. We look at our education maybe not being where we want it to be. We look at our status and we say, God, how can you use me? I'm not this, I'm not that. And Gideon still didn't recognize the God who is telling him, I'm the one sending you. He still expresses inadequacy because of his social standing in Israel, as if he was a nobody. But God is wonderful at using who society considers as nobodies and glorifying God's self through those people. Okay. You are created in the image of God. You are not a nobody. You are not what you think you may be. And again, I used this quote yesterday from Deion Sanders, who the reporters that were talking to him, he says, what makes you think that I care about your opinion of me? Your opinion of me is not my opinion of myself. We have to stop thinking down about ourselves because of mistakes, because of social status, because of all these things that we use to limit ourselves. Okay, Gideon still wrestled with inadequacy even after God said to go in the strength that you have. So I don't know who I'm talking to, but to my sister and to my brother, know that if God sends you, you are qualified, you are adequate, you are enough as you are. You are enough as you are because God sent you. And so we have to work at slaying this giant of inadequacy that perhaps still lingers and torments us in our day-to-day spaces that we occupy. Okay, so that's our Monday morning quarterback today. And I hope you can always go back and listen to the sermon, watch the service yesterday. I think it will bless you. What's going on this week? Tomorrow morning, we got our Tuesday morning prayer, as we usually do at 6:15 a.m. Thursday, we have our noon Bible study Thursday, as well as our prayer at 8:00 p.m. So we encourage you to come on to the noon Bible study Thursday and prayer at 8 a.m. There will be no Wednesday Bible study this week. I need a couple of weeks to kind of regather and refocus on what I'm going to do for Bible study. This Saturday, Ward is hosting a great event that's dealing with helping Black Californians become better advocates of their healthcare. And so that will take place here at Ward at noon in our executive conference room. And so it's free registration. If you look online on our Facebook page, there'll be a link that you can register. And the only reason why you have to register, because I think they're going to provide lunch. And so they want to know how many people to prepare for. And so we ask you, if you'd like to come, to please come, please register. Again, it'll be at noon, and it's it's a group, kind of like a town hall, discussing how we can be better advocates for ourselves in the healthcare system, to get the things that we feel that we need. You know, when you go to the doctor and they say there's nothing wrong, but you know there's something wrong, how to advocate for yourself or for your loved one. That's very important in our community. And so I encourage you again to come out. Reverend Rochelle would be one of the panelists on there. What else is going on? I can't remember, so much going on. I just encourage you. We got Women's Day coming up. Women's Day is coming up on October 1st, Sunday, October 1st. We have a men's conference that is going to take place on September 23rd. You can register for that as well. And then our Men's Day, Sons of Allen Day, is going to be on Sunday. What is that? September 24th. So we got a lot going on. I encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube page, Ward AME Church on YouTube, or like our Facebook page, and we'll keep you up to date on everything going on at Ward. All right. All right. So may the Lord bless you and keep you and make his face to shine upon you. Remember, permission denied and inadequacy, the giant of inadequacy must fall in our lives. All right. Peace.